it's me, Beth Maitland, with Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studio, and I'm going to do another series of questions and answers from people that have emailed me, reached out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and who have also contacted me through my website and through private messaging on some of these videos. I wanted to thank you, first of all, everybody in my social media community for being a part of my journey and for helping me stay encouraged to keep creating these videos and posting my quilts and my work. Thank you so much. It's just been awesome, and what a great few years it's been, and looking forward to many more. My first email that I wanted to respond to is, let's see, it's from Edith in Ontario, Canada. Edmonton. Sorry, Edith. She has asked what made me get into quilting in the first place. And so I thought I would maybe talk about that for just a minute. I've been sewing since I was about, I don't know, 10, 12, home ec. I made my my elementary school graduation dress and that sort of thing. But in terms of quilting, I put it off for a long time. I did costume design. I worked actually on a professional costume crew for several years for a theater group I was involved with, and for an opera theater company. I did all kinds of personal accessory design and manufacture. Some of my purses you've seen on TV with some of my other soap friends have worn them and shared them. I've done all kinds of home deck items, made curtains and bedspreads and all kinds of other things. But I put off quilting. I sort of felt like, oh my gosh, once I get started, I'll never stop. And I was right. I would say about 10 or 15 years ago, I finally gave up and did a patchwork. My very first quilt was patchwork and tied, not even sewn. Long-armed. It was a tied quilt that I made for my very first apartment when I was 19. But then I put it all away, and I thought, this is just way too much stuff, too much gathering of resources, too much stash, too much moving fabric collections from place to place to place, and I was right about that. I have a gigantic stash, and let's see, here's some of it now. Wow, look at all that fabric, and look at all that fabric. Everywhere I look in my studio, there's fabric. But I love it, and I would never give it up. Anyway, now that I'm a quilter, I'm all in, and I started on a mid-arm. I started quilting on a mid-arm, a Husqvarna Viking mega quilter, and it never worked right, and I was never completely happy with that. So I finally traded up. I would say maybe 7 years ago now. I traded up and got my APQS. A little bit less than that, 6 years. My APQS Millennium, and I have not looked back. I love it. It's amazing. It's inspiring. It keeps me busy. It makes me look good. It's helped me learn so many new techniques. It has expanded my creative world, and I am thrilled to make most of my quilts for charity, for contributions, for charity auctions. I gift most of the things I make myself, but I've developed this lovely community of professional clients for whom I quilt and do regular work, design. A lot of my people hire me to build from the ground up a custom quilt. So I would say that officially I would call quilting a last 10 years endeavor. I would call long arming more like the last, I would say 6 years, 5 or 6 years, to develop my skills on the proper equipment. The mid-arm was just kind of learning what that world was about. It was a very frustrating situation. It never worked correctly, and it was really, really a challenge to manage. So I would say that APQS Millie started my real journey, and that's about 6 years. So I hope that answers your question, Edith. Thank you for writing in. And if you all would like to ask questions, please comment underneath this video or in any of the other videos you happen to watch, and I'll get a notification. I'll try to answer your questions. You can contact me via Twitter. Everything is at Beth Maitland DQB, Drama Queen Bee. And I have a Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studio Instagram. You can find me. Just search for me in a Google search and you can find me. So let me hear from you. Thank you all very much. And I'd love to hear your questions. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. All the best. Go out and make something. Let's get started on a new project today. And thank you for joining me. It's Beth Maitland at Drama Queen Bee Quilts.